As far as leadership and management is concerned, I think generally speaking, these are very hotly contested areas in the school. And we've had our struggles here. And I think much of what we say and do as far as leadership and management comes largely from the input that Linda and Judy's brought back from sitting in circles of this sort. So leadership for us is about why, it's about where. And management is about how. And for some reason, management always gets relegated to a lesser part. And being a language teacher, leadership is about poetry. Management is plain prose. But we've discovered as we've gone along that there is poetry in plain prose. And we've discovered that leadership is about poetry as well as plumbing. So you'll see Judy all around the campus, bending over, Sue, Linda, getting their hands dirty. And so we, at a point, with your input, trying to come up with our sense of what we understand by leadership and management. And what I plan to do today is to give the opportunities to three members of the ASMT, to just share their perspectives. And I urge you just to make points so we can open up the floor for discussion a little later. Because I've learned already from yesterday that once you get started talking, you're never going to stop. So we've got an input session and then we'll open it up for a Q&A. And Judy's quite right, we want to start from the bottom up. And so we want to start with our grade, Cecilia. We met Cecilia yesterday. And I'm going to give her the opportunity to just share her practice or her sense of what her practice is all about. Cecilia.
Good evening, everyone. I've been a grade here for a number of years, and I'm actually a grade 11 graduate. And for the first time this year, we've been included onto the SAT, and I feel it's a great honor for me to be included onto the SAT. And being on the SAT, it does come with a lot of hard work, a lot of responsibilities, and for me, that has actually helped me to become more confident, because I'm not somebody who can be very confident when I'm faced with a group of adults like this. I'm very confident in my classroom, but because I also have to chair grade meetings at the end of every term, it has given me, in fact, I've grown in confidence as the year has gone by this year, and I'm quite happy for that. And what we do at the end of every term, or the beginning of the new term, we look at the phase and we see how the students have done for that particular term. And it's my duty to actually chair the meeting, okay? Can be very daunting. I remember my first one, really daunting, because I've got to go back and look at the schedule and see how every child in the grade has performed. And then I've got to draw up my own analysis. And I must say, with Linda's input, it has helped us to look at data analysis, and it's shown me how to be more accurate in my assessments of what I'm doing. And that has helped a lot. It's also helped me not to personalize anything that is being put forward, because what we do is we look at every child and how the child has performed across the board, and there might be a subject, it could be my subject, that is really out of sync. And teachers are allowed to ask me, why is that so? So I've learned not to personalize that, and it's also helped me to go back and see what I'm doing wrong and where I can better myself. Also, I'm in charge of discipline in my grade. Okay, so it helps me also because the children look up to you as a grade leader. Okay, and when you call them out to discipline them, either if they're not behaving properly or if their work is suffering. And I find that the children do look up to you and they do listen to you. But there will be times when students, you do get those students that you really have to caution very seriously. And I've got to find different techniques of how to handle different students. I might have to be very firm with some students, and then I might have to approach it in another way, maybe in a motherly fashion, okay? And that has helped me to be very empathetic also to some of the members. So that's what I do, and I think I'm just becoming better and better as the time goes.
Yes, certainly. We're going to go across now to Sue. Sue's an academic director.
Lessons that I learned, I'm going to use some words that have become a large part of my vocabulary, and this has been as a direct result of being a coalition member. And not only are they part of the language at Inanda, but they are also part of the culture. And I think that sharing these words with you, some of which have been shared already in that initial sharing. If these words can, and I purposely chose verbs because they are doing words, and I think it's important for us to do, and not just to use the language. So I'm going to start with delegate, because this is something that we do, and it's not just about passing on responsibility or relieving someone else about pressure, it's also taking ownership of an area. And I think what I've always been proud of is that tasks are delegated to people who have an area of strength. And so that's the best way to do that. And the next one is collaborate, and someone had mentioned this as well. Collaborate is all about working together, it's about sharing ideas and creating goals together and then working towards them. And I think with collaboration as well, when there is delegation, often there is delegation without having support, because that's your area. And I think this is something that we should learn to do rather as a result of the collaboration, to have that support available, even though we sort of delegated responsibilities to other people. The next one is reflect, and yes, we did reflect at Inanda, always as far as I can remember. I think the peer review that we had just over a year ago has been a huge catalyst in making processes and systems a lot more intense and fine-tuning things that we are doing. And reflection is one of them, and we reflect about everything and in any situation and in every situation. And it happens between teachers and between management and between students, and then across those dimensions as well. So reflect is a huge part of what the coalition expects and what we should be doing and what everybody should be doing. I think part of reflecting is also evaluating. After reflection, evaluate. And evaluate and re-evaluate and change things all the time. I think the dynamic environment that is education allows us to work with people, human resources, and to constantly change the jobs that they do, because they do some jobs a lot better than they do others. So it's important for us to reflect on what has happened and for us to evaluate how that went, and then to move on from there and to change things. And I think we have the liberty to do that, and we need to use it as often as we can. So that was evaluate. And then engage. And engage can take many forms. And talk is one of them, and I think difficult conversations is definitely part of that. And these can happen and should happen between all the different aspects and all the stakeholders. And besides the difficult conversations, I think engaging with people as people, rather than as you're a student. I want to engage with you as peer, or you're a teacher. I'd like to know exactly who you are and what you stand for, and to engage as fully as possible. So I think these words have been real lessons for me and for our school, and I think they need to be lessons for all schools in the coalition, because this is what we are about. And if we can embrace them and include them in the culture of what we do, in everything we do, all the time, I think we'll go a long way to achieving what we set out to achieve.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, thank you, Sue. And it's now over to Judy.
I'm going to really just make it short, just in terms of leadership and management, because Pete used the word yesterday of it not being flashy work, and it is hard work. And I really thought that I'd worked really hard in the school for 10 years, and that we'd made enormous progress. But two things happened at the same time. One was having a peer review, and the other was having someone come and help us write a business plan for the school at the same time. And the first rock in the peer review was that I was part of the rock in terms of my leadership of the school, because everything crossed my desk. So people were afraid to make any decisions that they hadn't first bounced off me. And I thought to myself when I read it, I thought, I hadn't actually sweated it out for 10 years to be the rock of the school. And it was really like a kick in the stomach. It really was. And so immediately, I think there were a lot of people doing the work. They were responsible for it, but they didn't have the authority that went with that position. So immediately, within a week of the peer review, we had a collective leadership team in place, and I said to people, you've been doing this work now, you're in charge of it, and people are going to come to you, and you're not going to come to me. I'm here if you need to help or advice, I'm going to do it. And it changed in a week. And in fact, Linda will tell you that she was away that week, and she came back and she thought, and I think Mama Mrs. said, and I'll give her a chance to later, she said, I can see you doing it instantly, and we did. And people just take it to it. So it's really great to be part of a collective leadership team, and I didn't realise how wonderful it would be for me to have so much shared, and that every decision doesn't have to actually come from me ultimately. Yeah.
Thank you, Judy.